Welcome to My Talk with Liberty, the podcast where we take you around the world of meetings, incentives, conferences, and events, one destination at a time. I'm your host, Maximilian, and today we are heading to a land of breathtaking landscapes, world-class event venues, and unparalleled adventure, New Zealand. Whether you're planning a corporate retreat, a high-end energy incentive trip, or conferences with a few, New Zealand has something for everyone. And who better to take us through it than Kate Lawry, our CEO of Liberty New Zealand, and Penny Ryan, Global Manager Business Events for Tourism New Zealand. Welcome to the show, Kate and Penny.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm very excited. New Zealand, unfortunately, I've never been there, but I'm pretty sure after the podcast, I will book my flight directly. But therefore, so if somebody has never been to New Zealand, so Kate and also Penny, how would you describe New Zealand, for somebody who has never been there like me?
Oh, gosh. So New Zealand really feels like you're almost in the movies. It's like a real life kind of fantasy. We've got these incredible mountains, the rolling hills on the North Island, of course, and then the towering mountains on the South Island. Our water, our lakes are just crystal clear, and some of the blue colours in some of the lakes down south are just incredible. So we've got wild beaches, we've got geothermal wonderlands with the oranges and the turquoises and the geysers. And then, of course, the ancient forests that date back, thousands of years, and then crazy underground caves with little baby glowworms in them. So we've really got it all.
Wonderful. Penny, please feel free. Yes.
Yeah, I think, I'd love to add on to that and say, absolutely, while we do have these amazing, breathtaking vistas and scenery and landscapes, it's a really warm and welcoming and friendly and laid back country as well. So I think, one of the things that we often hear people talk about when they've been to New Zealand is how welcomed they felt and how at home they felt while they were here as well. So I think it's a really nice combination of breathtaking and, kind of homely and welcoming that just kind of encapsulates everything that's best about taking a trip.
Absolutely. I definitely get that feedback from clients all the time that they just couldn't believe how friendly and how safe they feel here. So, that's definitely something that is really noticeable. As soon as you land, really, as soon as you get to the airport, you can kind of feel it here as soon as you arrive.
I mean, I think this is a very key element nowadays, when you arrive somewhere. And New Zealand, you travel quite far. It depends, of course, where you're from, but Europe or North America, it's a distance. But then, after such a long travel, if you arrive and somebody welcomes you in a very positive way, I think this is a game changer. How is New Zealand in terms of food and wine?
Well, it's pretty good, I have to say. It's pretty tough to choose which my favorites would be. But I think, for an incentive group, for example, I think a really important thing to do is have a traditional Māori hangi. And that's where they all gather together and they have meat and vegetables and they put it under the ground and it's sort of heated under the ground and they leave it for a few hours and then everybody together gets it back up out of the ground and then they share it obviously and have a lovely chat around a fire often and a really good meal. And of course, if you want to have a nice glass of wine with that, we've got some beautiful Merlot, especially from the Hawke's Bay region of New Zealand, that would really go well with a Māori hangi. Obviously, we're really well known for our quality lamb, and that's sort of distributed all over the world. So that's something that people really enjoy when they come down here. I personally like it on the barbecue or a good roast on a Sunday. And then of course our seafood is incredible. Green-lipped mussels, bluff oysters, all of them are just absolutely yummy.
Wow, so I'm getting hungry even it's quite in the morning here in Austria, but sounds fantastic. Penny, do you want to add something? Do you have something in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything that Kate's just listed is amazing, and in terms of wine, you kind of very nicely matched some wines with the particular dishes you were talking about. I think we have a really strong wine culture here in New Zealand, and we're really moving into some other beverages as well. So really great brewing of beer, but then also some spirits as well, gins, whiskey, things like that. So there's lots to discover if you're into trying some different beverages. But I think the other thing that's really exciting about New Zealand is the pairing of our indigenous foods with different meals. So there are some really great products out there where you can go for a walk through the forest with a Maori guide, and they'll tell you the stories of their people and their land, and they'll actually get you to forage from the native plants in the forest, and they'll prepare those as part of the meal for you. And I think that is such an amazing experience where you're learning about the place that you're at, you're connecting together with the people that you're with, and then you're also having this amazing meal, which is a true kind of recognition of the place that you're in and the people that you're with, which is just such an amazing experience.
It sounds really exciting and wonderful. Sounds fantastic. Super. Thank you for that. About MICE events, like adventure, culture, business, it seems it all can be combined in New Zealand. So, Kate and Penny, do you have some unique experiences in your mind with specific MICE groups from the past? What you want to share with us that our clients can imagine how it could go, or what specialities you have?
Yeah, for sure. So some really fun, there's lots of really fun things you can do, and it just depends on the incentive group. If you've got a really active, competitive group of people, we've got some really amazing opportunities. The America's Cup sailboats, you can race against each other on the harbour in Auckland, which is a really cool experience. Of course, there's the bungee jumping that we're really famous for, where you tie yourself to an elastic cord and jump off a bridge, a perfectly good bridge.
I'm too tall for that. I'm too
no,
tall
you're not.
for that.
No, you're not. So that's something, high adrenaline, jet boats, all those sorts of things. For those that want to be a bit more creative, we can organise a Māori craft workshop where you can learn how to weave or carve from sort of local artisans, and that's a really good way to connect with the Māori culture as well. For something really fun, and of course we can't forget Lord of the Rings, we've got the Hobbits, Hobbiton and Matamata, and we can put on a full function there with a lovely sort of folk music and Hobbit-inspired dishes, and you have it in the Green Dragon pub, which is in the movie, and they match it with wine, and then we can sort of do a themed awards ceremony with a unique twist, so we can have the guests or the servers dress as hobbits or other Middle-earth characters. So that's something really cool and very different and very New Zealand.
I mean, I need to say I love Lord of the Rings.
I
think I told you. I told you, Kate, already. So I've seen every episode, how you want to say it, every trilogy, I think 10 times already. It's just fantastic, and it's really a life goal. To come over and experience that as well?
Yeah, I think definitely our Indigenous Maori culture is something that makes us truly unique. We have a concept called manaakitanga, and that is about how we welcome people, but not just welcome them. It's about how we show them that we value them while that they're here. And it plays a really important role in how we treat our visitors and how we want to show them our country and share it with them. And the other thing is, Maori culture means that we have experiences that you can come and do that are unique to New Zealand. You can't do them elsewhere. So, for example, learning and performing a haka, or, as I said before, walking with Maori guides in a particular landscape and learning about their myths and legends and their ancestors from that place. It's really special. And it also kind of allows you to have that really beautiful connection with nature, which I think a lot of us, when we're so busy in our day-to-day and we're, in cities and we're going to meetings, we've become quite disconnected from nature in that really, really close way. And I think that's such an amazing opportunity to get that back again and to share that. Last thing I'll just drop into the mix. There's lots and lots, and I'll just kind of keep a lid on it.
Please don't stop.
Stargazing.
Don't stop.
Stargazing is New Zealand's one of the best places in the world to do stargazing. So we have 9 officially designated dark sky reserves. So if you want to come and have a look at an incredible night sky, you have to come to New Zealand and do some stargazing.
100%. I can vouch for that. I was just recently down on the South Island near Mount Cook, and we did some stargazing there, and it was just absolutely unbelievable. And it's very laid back. You sit there with a nice blanket on, they pour you a lovely glass of port or a glass of wine, and they just sort of look up at the sky and they tell you all about the different stars and also sort of stories attached to them and things like that. So yeah, it's such a neat experience.
Wow. It seems like there are really these wow factors which people are looking for, these unique experiences. And wow, unfortunately in the podcast we cannot show pictures, right, or short video clips, but it's just fantastic. Thank you very much. And related to that, do you see some nice industry trends, related to New Zealand, Penny? What's happening last year? What's happening this year? What are clients looking for more and more? Is it 3 days, 4 days? Is it from Europe, North America? What is your feeling about that?
We're definitely seeing some trends coming through in terms of what people are looking for. So we want people are looking for wellness. So it's definitely been a big push in many markets, and New Zealand's got a great offering and a holistic approach to wellness. And I think the idea that we have in terms of health, we call it te whare tapawha in Māori, and that describes your well-being as being like a house. So you have your different elements. You've got your spiritual well-being, your mental and emotional well-being, your physical well-being, and then your connection with your family and your community. And the connection that we have with the land sort of forms the basis of the house and the well-being. And it's a really unique way of looking at how we treat, kind of ourselves to help ourselves get back to that state of equilibrium and just kind of feeling really good. And when everything's in balance, we thrive. The other thing that we definitely see as being a trend is people seeking out safe and stable places to go. And, New Zealand, we have a really great reputation in terms of safety. I think, Kate, you mentioned that earlier as well. And definitely, as we kind of come out of that post-COVID area, we've been able to build our international flight access. So it means that it's easier to get into New Zealand as well. And for our North American clients, you can jump on a plane from a lot of places in America. You can watch a movie and have a sleep and wake up in New Zealand, which is pretty good.
Gosh, that's, it's funny you say that, Penny, because that's something that I've been doing, working in this space for about 35 years now, and for the American market, that's all I've ever said is only a sleep away. It's only a sleep away. Exactly. So it seems like a long way, but really from North America, it's literally you just get on especially the West Coast, you get on the plane at night, like Penny said, have a glass of wine, watch a movie, go to sleep, wake up, and you're in heaven.
Wow, perfect. Wonderful. No, super thing. Kate, is there something you want to add about hybrid events, sustainability, how those trends
definitely.
developing?
So definitely that is becoming more and more, people are definitely a lot more concerned with sustainability and making sure that we're eco-conscious when we're planning trips. So we do work with suppliers that also focus on sustainability, reducing waste, minimizing travel carbon footprints. I know that people are coming a long way, so that's not always a great thing when they're flying that far to New Zealand, but we can definitely offset that with many, many different suppliers that we use down here that are focus on reducing their carbon footprint. Some of our great event centres, like the Shed 10 in Auckland and Te Papa Museum, which is New Zealand's national museum, they both embrace green practices and offer carbon offset options. So those two, are, for example, are excellent. And then culture, again, is always top of the list. That cultural engagement is just so important. I know we've talked about it a lot, but I just don't think we can say it enough, really. It's the one thing I think that people really get the most out of when they come to New Zealand. They're really blown away by it. It kind of just stays with you once you've had one of those really sort of immersive, authentic experiences. And yeah, we work with lots of operators that can provide just that.
Perfect. Yeah, super interesting. The sustainable, I mean, this is what DMCs like us can offer, is connecting the arrivals who arrive, the travelers, the MICE companies, the incentive teams, and connect them with the local cultures, to local communities, bring them to the nature. So I think this is what the DMC is here. They really bring to add the sustainable touch to their itineraries, to the programs they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sustainability is a really important focus for us. I think, as we've said, we have a really special connection with the land here in New Zealand, and we have a way of describing it. We call it our Te Aki promise, which is about care for people and place. And in order to help the industry facilitate that, we have an organisation called Qualmark, and they help tourism operators to basically be the best that they can be. So there's a variety of different things that they will kind of check an operator on, but one of the most important ones is sustainability. Qualmark is GSTC, Global Sustainable Tourism Council accredited. So that way, if someone sees a Qualmark sign on an operator, they know that they're at a global standard in terms of sustainability. And there's more than 2,000 operators that have Qualmark certification across New Zealand, and that's everything from accommodation to transport and activities. And Kate was mentioning before some really great venues in terms of functions that have some very strong sustainability practices, but we also have that in terms of the convention centres as well. So Te Pai in Christchurch was the first venue of its kind in the world to become net zero in terms of carbon certification. Takina in Wellington is on its way towards that as well. And NZICC, which will be our New Zealand International Convention Centre up in Auckland when it opens in February next year, will be aiming for that as well. So there's some really exciting things that are happening in terms of the sustainability space in New Zealand. So it can be actually a really positive choice to make to come to New Zealand.
We have in Slovenia in 2 weeks our Liberty annual meeting, where all Liberty offices and our salespeople are coming together, and we will have a sustainability award. So we are also calculating the CO2 touch footprint of every person to really, we show that this sustainability is not something we only talk about. We want to be a role model here. We want to show people what can be done. And it seems like New Zealand is offering that as well in a very positive way, that yes, you travel far, but once you arrive, you can give something back. And yeah, this is really wonderful. And I'm really keen to now to see how and when I can come to New Zealand. How long should an incentive be to have to experience the most or to get the most out of it?
I guess it just depends on where you're coming from. But you know, if you're traveling sort of from Europe, it's a long way. And you're investing, quite a lot of money in the flights. It's so you really want to make the most of your time here. So, I mean, ideally, I mean, I could design an itinerary that could keep people here for a month, Max, but we know that mice.
Seems so.
But for mice, I would say a minimum of a week. 10 days, 2 weeks would be great. From the US, you can probably do a week on a mice trip, no problem. You could probably do a bit shorter, especially if you're flying at the front of the plane and you're well rested when you arrive here. So, but yeah, it's a shame to just sort of come in and come out again in 2 or 3 days. You really need at least a week, I would say. Would you agree with that, Penny?
I would, and I think, part of the experience is being able to kind of fully enjoy every kind of thing that you do and not feel like you're kind of rushing from one to the next to get as much in as you possibly can. Being able to kind of take a breath and take it all in is a really important part of the experience.
Yeah, for sure. You don't want to sort of come here just with the mindset that you've just got to tick this off and tick this off and tick this off, because then you're moving so fast you miss those wonderful things that quite often pop up unexpectedly. So yeah, that would be my advice. Just slow down a bit and really take it all in.
And if the clients are coming from Asia, so what would you recommend? 3 days, 4 days?
5 days. 5 days would be great. Awesome. That gives them the opportunity to do maybe 2 locations in 5 days. And really, so you could maybe experience a city experience, and then you could also get out into the countryside and just really enjoy that beautiful scenery.
What would you recommend clients how to travel to New Zealand?
Well, I'd recommend, obviously the connections now from the US are very good. The US is a great market for New Zealand. And you can fly from New York non-stop now down into New Zealand. You can fly from Dallas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, of course. So there's lots of different connections from the US. And then from Asia, you can connect, there's great connectivity. So Singapore is a good hub. You can come down through from Dubai, so from that region as well, you can get down here. And there are good connections. So from India, for example, I know you do have to connect either through Singapore or Hong Kong or something, but you can get here fairly easily. And then, of course, from Europe, it's 2 flights always to get here. That's why it's important to stay for a while. But once you get here, we've got so many regional airports and they're super easy to get through. So getting from A to B in New Zealand is really, really simple. And some of the airports are so small, security, you don't have to go through security in all of the airports. So you can arrive sort of an hour before, easily get through and be on your way within 20 minutes out the other side. So it's a really easy to travel around New Zealand once you get here.
Yeah. You both have traveled a lot around the world and you have experienced a lot. So in terms of or in connection to New Zealand, what was your wow moment? Yeah, something you will never forget related to New Zealand that you want to share with our listeners?
I think for me, it's always the experiences that I do with my family that are the most special. And we were recently down in Queenstown with our children, and it was a beautiful, sunny, crisp, clear day. And we travelled on the Earnslaw, which is a vintage steamship, across the lake to Walter Peak Station, which is a historic farmstead, on the side of the mountains there. And the scenery was absolutely stunning. The weather was incredible. The gardens and the farm was just gorgeous. And the kids just had a wonderful time exploring and, saying hello to the animals. And it was just such a beautiful, magical but really serene experience. And I think that's probably the one for me where I just kind of go, it's a pinch myself moment where I look around and I go, is it really as beautiful as it looks like?
Yeah, there's so many amazing things here. It's kind of the type of country you go to and you can get out into the countryside and you just kind of get goosebumps. You feel like you're a million miles from anywhere sometimes. And I think one of my wow moments was I was down at Milford Sound, and it was a cloudy day, it was raining, and everyone, I tell people all the time when they're booking travel, don't worry if it rains when it goes down to Milford Sound. It's much prettier actually because the waterfalls are really full and it's fantastic. But of course I was down there, I was like, oh no, it's raining. But anyway, the rain cleared up and the clouds just parted for a little bit, and then Mitre Peak was right in front of us, which is this huge mountain that just goes straight down into the fjord, and the waterfalls were cascading, and it was just, you're in this little boat in this very, very remote part of New Zealand, and it was just absolutely incredible. There was rainbows, there wasn't unicorns, but there was rainbows, and it was just gorgeous. So that was really amazing. But a cultural the culture really here resonates with me a lot, and I had a really amazing experience. There's a living Māori village in Aotearoa called Ohinimutu, and we were invited onto the marae there, and we just shared a very simple home-cooked dinner with the local people there, learning about their traditions. But the warmth and the openness of the people and their culture just left me with such a deep respect for the way that they live, and it's just stayed with me, really, that experience, for a long, long time. So yeah, there's lots of different things, but those two for me would probably be the most standout.
Thank you very much for sharing those personal experiences. It's just how the cherry on the cake. It sounds really too good to be true. Yeah, it seems like we really have to come over. Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yes, and what I always do is I'm researching some funny key facts. Yeah, so please tell me if they're true or not. Yeah, but. Since you're close to New Zealand, what I found there are no snakes in New Zealand. Sorry, you're close to Australia, so there are no snakes in New Zealand. Is this true?
Well, yeah.
That's true.
And this is for European. I mean, this is just crazy, right? For us, Australia, you have spiders, snakes, everything that's possible, and then you're close by, and nothing there. Okay,
so
perfect.
There's nothing on land, Max, that can kill you. But that's just don't. We might have a few sharks in the water, but there's nothing on land that can kill you. So it's very safe indeed.
Yeah, somehow I don't know what happened in my past life, but spiders, I have so special problem with spiders. So then New Zealand, I'm there. Perfect.
Yeah.
Then also that the most inland point, the maximum you can be away from the sea is 119 kilometers. So now in miles, I don't know in miles, but at the end, you're not far away from the sea, no matter where you are in New Zealand. And the longest distance would be 119 kilometers, which is also not so far. So this is also interesting to know.
Yeah, that's about right.
I was going to say, when I picture New Zealand, that sounds like it's probably true.
Yeah.
And which also brings that you have around 600 islands. Yeah, so also an interesting fact that you have around 600 islands in New Zealand.
Yeah, we do. Stewart Island actually is really off the beaten track and not great for mice groups, but it would be good for a very small incentive group. Stewart Island is one of the places, it's off the south coast of the South Island, and it's one of the only places in New Zealand where you can walk at night and see a kiwi in the wild, which is really cool. There's a few places you can do it, but that's quite a famous one, so really off the beaten track.
Super. New Zealand is the world's largest exporter of milk. Yeah, also something
I can imagine that's probably true.
I mean, unbelievable. Then the Nelson Blue Lake has the clearest water of any lake in the world.
Yeah, I can believe that too. Yeah, it's stunning.
I researched this again. I looked at some pictures, and it looks very true. Yeah, it's very fascinating. And then there are more than 5 sheep to every person in New Zealand. Yeah, so there are around 26 million sheep. Also, some fun fact: the smallest dolphin in the world was found in New Zealand. So
is that the Hector? I think that's the Hector dolphin.
Exactly, the Hector dolphin.
Yeah, they're very inquisitive. They're very cute.
The smallest dolphin needs to be cute, I think. Yeah, absolutely. New Zealand was the first country to grant women the right to vote back in 1893.
So New Zealand has developed the first fully playable destination world within Minecraft. So Tourism New Zealand worked with Mojang and Warner Brothers to develop this and make it live. So it's a downloadable content option for people today to go and play in a real life version of New Zealand.
That's so cool.
That's very cool. Yes. I think the young generation is now even more exciting to come over. Yeah. So that's a wrap on today's episode of Mice Talk with Liberty. So Kate and Penny, thank you very much for joining us. It was really fascinating and also beautiful, the stories. So I'm really excited about New Zealand. And Kate, I know that you're a newer member in the Liberty group. You're joining our annual meeting. So I'm really keen that you will meet our salespeople, you will meet clients as well. It will be it will be a great chance to bring more clients and more business to New Zealand. I think this will be the next big step. So if you're a mice planner looking to create an unforgettable experience in New Zealand, Liberty has you covered. So please visit our website, libertyint.com, to start planning. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. It helps more people to discover the best in global mice